Many cities in North America giving a weekend workshop. Alachua, Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, Charlotte, North Carolina, Boston, Columbus, Las Vegas, and San Jose. They have given congress in Singapore and Sridham, Mayapur as well. And recently Hartford was also added to this list. They just finished communication development workshop with us. It was a 2-day workshop. It started yesterday, in the morning 9 a.m. And then it was over today at around 3 p.m. It was a 1.5 day workshop. So I would like to thank both Prabhuji and Mataji for joining with us today. Can all of us welcome Prabhuji and Mataji by saying Hari Bol 3 times?
Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. That was a very tiring introduction. I got tired myself. Alright, so we'll start with Jai Radha Madhava. What comes? Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jai Radha
Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari
Jai Radha Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, text 32. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravritho lokan samartum iha pravrittah. 11.32. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravritho Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravritho Lokan samahartumiha pravitta Ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve Ye vashvita pratyanikeshu yodha Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravritho Lokan samahartumiha pravitta Ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve Ye avasthita pratyanikeshu yodha The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste
सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much for coming to the Sunday Feast program here at, we call it ISKCON Hartford or ISKCON Connecticut? ISKCON Connecticut. Okay. All right. So let's do some yoga, some stretching before we start. Okay? So everyone lay out your hands in front. Yes? Everyone's ready with this? Okay, now turn your hands on this side, facing away from each other. Okay? And now, we bring one hand above the other and clasp the hands. Put your finger down, put your thumb down, thumb should be down. And then, boom.
Wait.
All right. Did you try that? Okay. I think this. Let's try Bhakti Yoga. Okay.
Boom.
So
Yeah.
Krishna explains Bhakti Yoga is simple, but not easy. In the Bhagavad Gita, here Krishna is actually telling us the benefit of time. Time I am. Krishna is time himself. And if you see, we can get so many different gifts when we have birthdays and anniversaries. People give so many different gifts. But you know the best gift? The best gift is the gift of time. When we give our time to someone, even the kids, we can give them all different sorts of gifts. They'll be happy for some time. But what they're really yearning for is the gift of our time. If we don't have time for them but load them with gifts, do you think they'll really be happy? No. But if we can, well, some of the kids are saying, yeah, sure, I'll be happy. But we know eventually they like when they want the gifts as well as the gift of time. Because when we give our time to someone in a relationship, then we are actually giving a piece of our life which cannot be returned back. So it's, Krishna here says, time I am. That is something which is really wonderful. And now, our time is getting distracted by so many different things, by our cell phones and by TV and so many different things. They distract us and rob us of our time. When we wake up, what is the first thing that we do? What most of the people do?
Open their eyes.
Okay, open their eyes. After they open their eyes, what's the first thing that they do?
Brush their teeth.
Brush their teeth. In between opening their eyes and brushing their teeth. Yes. They yawn. Okay. While yawning, what do? They look at their WhatsApp messages, they check their Facebook feeds, and they check their emails. And in fact, one of the regulative principles that we have to now say is, do not check your phone for 1 hour after you wake up. And it's so difficult. Try that tomorrow. Don't look at your phone at all for the first 1 hour that you wake up. Because that's the time when we actually live. We will be in a proactive state. As soon as we pick up our phone and start doing this, we suddenly come into a reactive state. We just keep reacting to the messages that are coming. We keep reacting to the emails that are there. We keep reacting to the Facebook. We start comparing our lives with everyone else. And our time just goes before we know, oh my God, this is, it's been so long. And time just is, so time I am, that's the greatest gift. If today it was announced at the temple, Pyari Mohan Prabhu announces that everyone will get $86,400 gift today. I'm sorry to put you on the spot. How would you feel? You like it? Yes?
All right.
But there's a catch. You have to spend all of that $86,400 on the same day. And then, the next day you cannot carry over whatever was given. However, the next day you'll get $86,400 in your bank account again, which you can spend that entire day. If you had this kind of a deal, how careful we will be in planning how am I going to spend that $86,400.
Ferraris are expensive.
Yes, but you cannot save for the day. After that, you just have to relinquish it. In fact, all of us have this in our accounts today. We have 86,400 seconds, which is 24 hours, that is given to us every day. When suddenly we start thinking in terms of $86,400, we become very careful. How am I going to spend it? And we start planning. But with our day, with our time, we never plan in that way. We are always just very reactive. But Krishna is saying, time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds. So with this understanding, we should be very careful how we are spending our time, how we are giving our an irreversible piece of our life to someone else. So I'll request Kalasudha to take this forward and go from there.
Hare Krishna. We thank all the devotees here for coming, especially Pyari Mohan Prabhu and Mataji. I mean, when I heard Mataji, when I heard your name, it was such a beautiful name Srila Prabhupada has given you. It's very, very beautiful. Touched my heart. Thank you. Thank you for having us over here. And one point that Prabhu made in his talk right now was about comparing our lives with others. Our way of living our own lives is that we either live in the past or we procrastinate the future. We never live in the present. Very seldom you find people counting their blessings. Very few. So there was once one person, he meditated and he had pleased God. So God appeared in front of him and said, "My dear son, I'm very pleased with you. Ask me a benediction. What can I give you?" So this man said, "Oh dear God, I want you to give me whatever I desire. Whatever I desire should come in front of me." God said, "All right, I'll give you whatever you desire, but you see there's always a catch, right?" So God said, "You'll get whatever you desire, but your neighbor will get double of what you desire. Is that okay?" So this man said, yeah, as long as I get what I want, it's perfectly fine. If my neighbor gets double of what I get, no problem. At least I get what I want. So that's what he thought at that time. Anyways, so then God said, "All right, I bless you. Whatever you desire, you will get." So then God disappeared and he made his first desire. Oh God, please bless me with a 3-story house. And boom, he had a 3-story house in front of him. But then he was just about to enter into his brand new home, and lo and behold, he saw his neighbor had a 6-story house. And you know, his balloon of enthusiasm that had blown up so much of his happiness just reduced a tad bit. You know, oh no, my neighbor has 6-story, I have 3. Okay, anyways, he just entered his house. And then the second desire, he said, my dear God, please let me have 2 brand new Ferraris. Yes, right? Let me have brand new Ferraris. So they were right there, you know, the latest model 2018 brand new Ferraris were standing right outside his house. And he came out to get inside his Ferrari and drive into town. And then what does he see in front of his neighbor's house? There were 4 new Ferraris. And he was like, oh no. So then he said, now he was really, really depressed. So he said, my dear God, just go ahead and blind me in one eye. He got blind in one eye. And he came out and he saw that his neighbor was blind on both the eyes. And that was his measurement of happiness. That based on others' level, whether they are happy or not, whether they are sad or not, we tend to judge our own happiness. He was not happy thinking that he got his desire fulfilled of having 2 new Ferraris, having a 3-story house, but seeing his neighbor having more than him was not satisfying to him. So should that be the way that we should lead our lives? We should try to be contented, self-contented. And only when we have an attitude of gratitude, that's when we can truly appreciate the blessings that we have in our hands right now. Imagine if we drive, how many of us drive cars here? Almost everybody, yes? How do we drive our car? Do we look at the rear view mirror and drive all the way? How do we drive?
Look out the windshield. Watch where you're going.
Exactly, watch where you're going. But you do look at the rear view mirror just for reference, right? You look over there, just a glance, and then you keep moving forward. So from the past, we try to take lessons from the past and learn from our mistakes, but keep moving forward. Try to be in the moment. Try to appreciate the blessings that we have in hand right now. And that way we can be able to appreciate life for what it is giving us. This human form of life is extremely precious. Let us not waste it in all these trivialities of comparing each other's lives. It's the greatest gift that we have got, is this human form of life. How much are we utilizing it in the service of others? That is something that it's a food for thought for all of us. How much are we living for ourselves? How much are we living for others, as service to others? That is something that we should try and meditate on. Just some food for thought.
All right, so the way we lead our life, rather than spending our time in negativities, in thinking about negative things, we should focus more on thinking on our positive thoughts, on how we can transform, rather than focusing on vengeance and focusing on anger, greed, all the anarthas that are there in our heart. If we can focus on chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, then, and performing bhakti, serving the devotees, this will transform our ego into selflessness. It will transform our lust into love, our vengeance into forgiveness, and our anger into tolerance. These are the qualities that we really need. But if we keep the grudges in our heart, if we waste our time, focus our time in focusing on the grudges, what someone has done wrong to us, or glorifying the good things that we have done to others. That's where our attention goes most. Either in thinking, oh, this person did something really bad to me, I have this grudge against this person, or in thinking, hey, look how ungrateful that person is. I did so many things for this person, and this person doesn't even say Hare Krishna to me, doesn't even say Hari Bol. Rather than that, we should actually try to see what bad that I have done to others and what good others have done to me, and be grateful for that. Otherwise, any grudge that is there in our heart, it will become worse and worse and worse. Just like this bottle of water. If I hold it right now, it's very easy for me to hold it, right? I can hold it for a second or two. Can you hold this for 10 seconds? Not right now, but I'm asking you. You'd be able to, right? Can you hold this for 1 hour? Maybe.
Yeah.
What if I asked you to hold this like this for 1 day? Would you be able to?
Sure.
What about 7 days?
Sure.
I'm sure it will start to get heavier and heavier and heavier. Although it has very less weight. But if you have to hold it for longer and longer time, it becomes the same small weight, suddenly starts becoming heavier and heavier. That's the same thing that happens with the grudges in our heart. The negativities that are there in our heart, we keep them within our minds for long. They tend to become heavier and heavier and heavier on our minds. They start feeling much, much more heavy. So it's our choice how we are utilizing our time in thinking of positive things or thinking of the negative things that people have told us. One time there was a teacher. She told the students, she gave every student a potato, right? The golden potatoes, and she kept that, and she asked students to keep this potato in their bags, and that for 7 days they have to keep this potato in their bag and not leave it. Wherever they go, they have to take this bag of potatoes with them. And the students ask, what when I'm taking bath? No, you have to take bath with it. Okay, what if I'm going out shopping? No, you have to go out with it. So they had to keep the bag with them. That was their assignment for the next 1 week, this bag of potatoes. And they started keeping this bag, and they said, all right, they went home, they told mom, my teacher has asked me to do this assignment, this bag of potatoes, I have to keep with me. So the whole family was just focused on the bag of potatoes of the child. And then next day they took bath, he took bath with the bag of potatoes, all of them, they came back, and the teacher asked, how did the first day go? Not bad, it was okay. All right, 6 more days to go. And then they continued doing this day after day, and after the 3rd and 4th day, the bag of potatoes started becoming heavier and heavier, because there was a lot of water that was going into it, and it was starting to slowly gain weight, absorb water. And after some time, a rotten smell was coming from that bag of potatoes. And all the students were, teacher, we just can't do this anymore. It's just stinking, it's heavy, and we're tired. And the teacher said, just a few more days. 2 more days and then you'll be done. And then there were all kinds of plants coming out of it, out of their bags, and then they were going on and on and on. And on the 7th day, they came back, and they were too eager to take it out and give it to the teacher. Please, now you take it. We don't want it anymore. In fact, I'm very much relieved. We are all very relieved. All the students were relieved. So teacher asked, okay, so all of you did your assignment successfully. What did you learn from it? He said, Never to eat potatoes, because I can't eat potatoes anymore now after taking them and seeing their life cycle. So what else? Teacher then said that this is what happens when we keep a grudge within our minds. These potatoes, just like we keep these potatoes 24 hours, we take baths with it, we go grocery shopping with it, we go to work with it, we go everywhere. Similarly, we go with those grudges everywhere. And after some time, they start to stink. And they start to rot. They start becoming heavier and heavier and heavier on our minds. So it's our choice how we are actually utilizing our time. Rather than focusing on these bag of potatoes, we should focus on the positive things which can get rid of the grudges within our hearts. By chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So I'm going to tell one more story. Anyone interested in another story? Kids are excited. We'll go with it. Okay. One time there was a Jewish monastery. Okay? And there were a lot of rabbis who were staying, and the monks who were staying in that monastery. And it was a very flourishing, a very happening place. That place used to attract a lot of people. But then suddenly something happened and people stopped going to that monastery. Somehow the different monks also, they just relocated. And then they were finally left with only 3 to 4 monks who stayed back in that monastery. No one was coming and they were not able to figure out what suddenly went wrong. So then they called from one of the other monasteries, they called a senior rabbi from there to come and help them out, to help them figure out what did they do wrong. They were flourishing, there were a lot of congregation who was coming there, but where did they go wrong that people stopped coming and everybody went away? So the senior rabbi came to visit them. And he had a meeting with just these 4 people because they were the only monks who were there in that particular monastery. So he had a small ishtagoshti, like a meeting with them. And he said, and they were saying, we are really concerned. What did we do wrong? How did we go wrong? Please tell us. So the senior rabbi, he thought for a while and he said, one amongst you is a Messiah. Messiah? Messiah is a messenger of God. So the senior rabbi said that one of you, out of the 4 of you, one of you is a Messiah, a messenger of God. He just said that and he left. He didn't say anything else. And then these 4 people, they started thinking amongst themselves, well, I have been into, I've been this monastery's commander, I've been into the management. I don't think I am a, Messiah. I can't be a Messiah. Maybe that monk, she is very humble, very quiet lady. Of course she does some backbiting, but that's okay. But she does her service very nicely. So maybe she might be the Messiah. And then that lady, one of the other monks started thinking, this commander, he is, always, getting on people's cases. He's always catching them at the wrong time, doing the wrong things. Well, but he catches them doing the wrong, he could correct them in a nicer way, but at least what he's saying is the right thing. Maybe he could be the Messiah. So like this, they started thinking each other to be the Messiah, and they started, treating each other like the Messiah. That, oh, I'm not, but you definitely could be. And they started treating each other in that way. And then slowly they started seeing that people started pouring back in. into their monastery. And the place again started blossoming and growing, and they again within 6 months they were back in business, they were flourishing and everything was great. So then the senior rabbi, they invited him again. These 4 guys were there and they said, "Senior rabbi, you did something, but we don't understand what you did. But you know what? Tell us, before you tell us what you did, tell us who amongst us 4 is that Messiah. Please resolve our doubts and tell us who amongst us is that Messiah." And then the senior rabbi said, he smiled and said,
I lied.
"No, rabbis don't lie." What do you think he said? "You all are, yes." He said, "Each and every one of you is a Messiah. And all I did was made you recognize that." So when we are working in a particular center, when we are working together, we can live together nicely only when we have a spirit of love and trust amongst each other. These 2 words, love and trust, can never be used together in any material relationship. You know why? We love our children, but can we trust them with the car keys? Don't think so, right? Because we're concerned for them. And we may trust our bankers, we may trust our accountant even more than our own spouses. Our spouses might not know what our bank account is, but our accountant knows. So we trust our accountant more than our own spouses. Do we necessarily love them? No. So this love and trust is impossible to have together in a mundane relationships. But in spiritual relationships, when Krishna is the center of a relationship, love and trust is possible. When we respect each other, when we love and trust each other, that feeling of mutual understanding, the feeling of mutual love and trust is what attracts outside people to come and take advantage of such an association. So when we build our congregation based on the principles of love and trust, then our congregation blossoms, and that becomes the central hub of all attraction. That's the way that we can make advancement in our own Krishna consciousness and the consciousness of the entire society at large. We can work together towards that principle. Giving it back to Prabhu.
So, this topic of time, we get sometimes good times come to us, sometimes bad times come to us, and irrespective of what the time is, we have to focus on our Krishna consciousness, on being steady in our devotional service. Speaking about time, how long can we go?
Well, it usually ends at 5.
Okay. All right. So maybe we'll say this one thing and then yeah. So I'll just tell about one of my experiences and maybe we'll end. One of my friends, he went on a skydiving expedition. No skydiving, they take you up in the airplane and then you jump. And so I was surprised because that friend of mine, he was not physically very fit. I was like, how did you just do it? How did you train for it? Did you go to a jump school? He said, yeah, I went to a jump school. And wow, so what did they teach you? Were you suspended in zero gravity and for a while did they train you that way? He said, no, it was a very simple training. When I would go there, they would ask me to stand up on a bench, maybe 2 to 3 feet high. And then they would say, 3, 2, 1, jump. And I just had to jump from there. And I was like, that's it? He said, yeah, that's it. And then I had to do this 50 times every day. 3, 2, 1, jump. And I would jump. And I was like, this is too easy. So how did it go on the actual day? Oh, I went there on the actual day, and when we were going to the airplane, there were all selfies, and they had me wear all these gear and the parachute, and everyone was, yeah, let's do it. They were cheering me up, and I was like, this is gonna be good. So he went into the plane, and then I said, then what happened? So they took me high up, and we were all doing high fives and everything and laughing. And just then the door flung open of the airplane. And 2 of them took me to the edge of the plane. And then they started saying 3. And I looked, for the first time, I looked down from the plane and I panicked. And I said, no, I give up, I'm going back. 2, you did not hear me. I want my money. I don't even want my money back. I'm just going back. 1, no. And then they were not letting me go back. 2 of them were holding me, jump. And because I was so programmed to say 3, 2, 1, jump and jump, I just jumped. And I said, then what happened? What was the first thing that you did? He said, guess what? I said, you prayed? He said, no, I screamed as loud as I could. And as I was going down, somehow in that commotion, I remembered I was stumbling here, there. I didn't know where I was. Sometimes I would see the plane, sometimes the ground, sometimes nothing. And I remembered I had the parachute. So I pressed my parachute button, and then the parachute opened. If the parachute doesn't open, then you pray. So he said, luckily for me, it opened. And then as it opened, I was taken all the way back up. And I was reflecting onto that, and I was like, this is so interesting. That's how our spiritual life goes. We are all in the association of devotees, we are all riled up, they all cheer, yes Prabhu, this is wonderful. And we are all like, yes, we'll start chanting Hare Krishna mantra, and they take selfies and everything. And then the time comes when we have to take the commitment to chant 16 rounds. The time to jump in our life. It's very easy to talk philosophy, but when it's time to apply it in our lives, when it's time, it's good to talk about time, but when it's time to apply the teachings of time, to apply the teachings of how to apply it in our, when someone says something bad to us, do I hold a grudge or not? That is the application of our Krishna conscious philosophy. Only Krishna and us will know. Will we apply it? Will we jump? But to take that jump, we need the association of devotees. Sometimes we panic, but all of the devotees, they hold us. No, Prabhu, you can do this. And then we jump. And we expect everything to go hunky-dory. But that's when we start tumbling and falling and everything. Of course, he said there was someone else who jumped along with him. So there is our Guru Maharaj who comes along with us. And when we hit the parachute, before we go forward, we go backwards. Even in our spiritual life, sometimes it seems like I was a better person before I started chanting. Now all these kinds of desires and things are coming in my mind. How do I deal with this? But we should be very patient. We should be in the association of devotees, understand that before we move forward, we will go back a little bit. That is part of the process. That is called the healing crisis. In Ayurveda, before the medicine starts healing, it actually makes the disease worse. So similarly, if we are not seeing sufficient progress in our spiritual life, even after chanting, even after associating with devotees. We must continue doing that. And as we are continuing to do that with enthusiasm, slowly Krishna will reveal himself and we will progress, we will get the taste for chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Is there any time for questions or comments? Yes. There was one question here. Are we done? Were you waiting for it?
I have a comment. I have a godbrother. One time, his wife, in the middle of the day, she fell asleep. And he changed her watch a couple of hours later. And then, when she woke up, she was late, and he's telling her, I'm going to give you the greatest gift. You can't even buy it, no matter how much money, etc., etc. And then he told her what he did, and she wasn't very happy.
The gift of time didn't work. That's a good one. Thank you for sharing.
We'll use it next time, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing it.
All right, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Wait.